Let's go over Star Wars Episode 9 when it comes to the character of Luke Skywalker. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, ever since the release of The Last Jedi, there was a lot of criticism and negativity going toward the character of Luke and how he was treated in the overall plot of the movie by writer and director Rian Johnson, and I myself will say that I was very much disappointed with how Luke Skywalker was used in The Last Jedi. Now, going forward into Episode 9, alright, a lot of people expect to see a better version of Luke Skywalker, whether this is in the form of flashbacks or Force Ghost. I know a lot of you guys out there are really not too excited about those two big ideas for Episode 9, but we do know and have heard these past couple of weeks that J.J. Abrams will be apparently doing very special things for the character of Luke in this film, and additionally, aside from that, apparently J.J. Abrams will be fixing certain elements of the character of Luke in Episode 9. Now, certain elements of his character will be adjusted from The Last Jedi, apparently by J.J. Abrams. What could this quite possibly mean? Now, I think that there are numerous things to be done in order to fix the character of Luke Skywalker. Now, some of you guys out there would heavily disagree with me, and some of you guys out there would probably agree with me on this, is that Luke Skywalker, I feel, needed a lot of fixing in The Last Jedi, and so going into Episode 9, it seems as though that JJ is trying to adjust certain elements of the character of Luke in this movie. Now, is this a response to Rian Johnson and his entire vision of Luke, or is this just Abrams kind of adjusting how Luke was in his script of Episode 9 and he's making some changes? It could be something like that as well. But looking at Luke Skywalker, I think in order to fix him, they really do got to give Luke a proper lightsaber duel. Now, that is something that we did not see in The Last Jedi, and it's honestly something that a lot of us expected to see for the middle film of the sequel trilogy, especially a film that was all centered on the character of Luke. We all expected to see that. Now, sure, we got his lightsaber duel, technically speaking, at the very end of the movie, but they were all dodge, they were all dodges. Luke could not engage in an actual, clash with his own nephew, Kylo Ren, because he was a Force projection. And we did get a technical lightsaber duel in the form of a flashback where their sabers kind of, just hit each other for 2 seconds before it vanishes. So, in my eyes, we did not get a proper lightsaber duel in The Last Jedi, and it's something that we should see in Episode 9, most likely in the form of flashbacks. But looking at him, alright, have him actually train Rey. That's another thing that I do want to bring up, is that we didn't really get a proper training scene either in The Last Jedi. I honestly felt like it was very underwhelming in comparison to the training that we got in The Empire Strikes Back between both Yoda and Luke. You guys realize how extended the training scene really is in Empire in comparison to The Last Jedi? You can really see how much detail goes into that scene, and the inspiring, the inspiring dialogue by Yoda and Luke and exchanging dialogue between those two characters. I loved it. But in The Last Jedi, it just felt off for me. We just had Rey sitting on the rock, telling Luke what she feels and what she sees on the island and all. That dialogue was cool, but it just did not last. It felt like it wasn't really a training scene. I felt like a failure in a sense, because Luke realized the raw power within her and he gave up on training her, and that was that. And then the lesson 2 was Luke Skywalker essentially, kind of lecturing her about why the Jedi are, just a huge failure. That to me was not training at all as well. So going into Episode 9, I think that we absolutely need a third lesson that will actually serve as a real training sequence. And in order to adjust it in a realistic way, have him train Rey in the beginning of Episode 9, and then make a massive time jump in the middle of the movie to show Rey's progress without wasting too much time. I think that, if they're going to actually have a lot of training between Luke and Rey in this film, whether he's a Force ghost, which obviously he will be, I think that we should at least at the very least, get 20 minutes of that. We do know that Luke and Daisy Ridley will, or should I say Mark Hamill and Daisy Ridley, will have a lot of scenes together over at Pinewood and Cardington. A whole entire set apparently has been built for those two. So there's something special going on in this film between those two characters for sure. And finally, I just wanted to say that show us Luke using a mind-blowing power. We have heard of all the different descriptions before these past couple of weeks, one of which even Luke taking down a Star Destroyer. The other one is, of course, the Force Ghost version of Luke Skywalker raising his hands up with sonic waves in front of Kylo Ren. Now, we saw this with the Force Ghost of Yoda, where he's using this technique to cause lightning and strike the tree. Could we see something like that in a sense in Episode 9 with Luke as a Force Ghost using a certain power? How do I feel about Force Ghosts having, you know, like these powers? I just don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. It feels a little strange and off to me. This was all started by Rian Johnson. As far as Yoda goes, I can kind of see, you know, why they would want to do that, but I feel like that Yoda was just off as a character as well in Episode 8. So, J.J. Abrams fixing certain elements of Luke, I think absolutely you have to give him a proper lightsaber duel. Do it in the past, you know, maybe he goes up against somebody else, or maybe we do get that little origin between both Snoke and Luke. How cool would it be if we actually got to see those two engaging in a lightsaber duel in a flashback? Give it to us, you know, that's something that we want to see. Have him actually train Rey, you know, give us a good training scene, a good 10-15 minutes of training, like how we got in Empire. And finally, you know, just show us Luke using a big power that'll really tell us how powerful he is and how he's an amazing Jedi Master. So J.J. Abrams, whatever he's fixing, whatever certain elements of the character of Luke is fixing or adjusting, not quite sure, but regardless, he's doing something different in comparison to Rian Johnson. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.